Do you wish you lived somewhere extremely beautiful, out of the hustle and bustle of the city? Check out what's behind me. This looks like a beautiful place to live. It is. Stay tuned for this video. We're gonna learn all about Stafford right now. I'm Aaron Cullen. I'm a local real estate agent right here in Portland, Oregon. Now, today we are exploring the neighborhood of Stafford. It's an unincorporated area, and it's actually classified as a hamlet. If you've ever wanted to live in a hamlet, this is the place to be. And you're right in between Lake Oswego and West Lynn. West Lynn's kind of like to the east, and Lake Oswego is to the west, kind of northwest of it. A bunch of different neighborhoods makes up the hamlet. There's only about 1,500 residents that live in this hamlet. There's a lot of farmland, a lot of big acreage properties out here. And that's one of the really attractive things about the Stafford area. Not a lot of homes go up for sale for here. You have a lot of buyers that are kind of waiting for that perfect home for them. I actually have some clients right now that are under contract for a beautiful home. Actually, this one that I'm standing at right now here in Stafford. So if you dream of living in an area that has multiple acres, the average home in here is going to have 3 to 5 acres of property. That just gives you like all this privacy. I mean, look at this, all this around me. You can't see any neighbors here. You can see a couple little houses, some rooftops here through the trees, but it's very quiet. There's no HOAs. People really love their privacy in this neighborhood. There's also a lot of farmers, and there's also a lot of forests, as you can tell. And so some of those trees are forested as timber. And if you don't want to on your property, if you have multiple acres, you can also get a tax deferral, which is really nice. So you get basically reduced taxes to have some of your acreage in what they call a timber deferral. You promise basically the state not to develop that area. In exchange, you get deferred taxes for that. If, say, some of your acreage is used to raise animals, then you can also get a farming deferral. Although, if you have a lot of trees, it's probably easier to get that forest deferral. Now, this area has gotten really popular just because of the gorgeous rolling hills that you can see behind me. We are in the Willamette Valley. The temperature here, the climate is very mild, although in the summer it can get really hot, and today it's supposed to get one of those hot days. I think it's almost supposed to be like 100. But overall, like the rest of Portland, your weather is going to be very mild. The things that just make this area special really is having this acreage property. Now, there are builders that are building some newer homes in here, but pretty much if you want, say, like a new home, you're going to have to buy a lot with an older home, tear that down, and build a new home. If you want to learn more about that, I can connect you guys to local builders that you could kind of start your research with. Go ahead and reach out to me. My information's right down there in the description area. Now, you're definitely a little bit more off the grid when you're out here. Most of the homes out here are going to be on a septic system, and they're going to be on a well. And like this home particularly has a shared well. And that's very common, where you might have one well and 2 or 3 houses might share the water from that well. So then you would also share the cost of those as well. So the nice thing about that is your monthly utilities are going to be a little bit lower than, say, if you had somewhere that had city sewer and city water, but you could get some of those bigger bills if you have to replace the water pump or your septic tank altogether. Those are usually items that don't go out too often. Now, today's a little bit hazier because it has been hot here the last few days. But if you look straight out that way, you can see Mount St. Helens just right through there. When I was out here a couple of weeks ago, it was just extremely, extremely clear. And then Mount Adams is the other peak just right over there. Kind of hard to see as well. Kind of looks like little puffy clouds, but there's 2 mountains right there. So the views out here pretty much from most of the property is going to be really gorgeous. And this is an example of a property higher up. So you're going to have these amazing sweeping views where you can see for miles and miles. I'd say one of the drawbacks for being up higher is you will hear a little bit of road noise. There's the 205 that goes in between like this set of hills and that set of hills. You can hear just a little bit of just very low rumble, and that's going to be pretty common here. If you're going to be on that side or on this side in this area, just to hear a little bit of that. Now, that's going to be the same for West Lynn as well. If you're on this south side of the hills there, that road noise just kind of ricochets through the valley there. But you have these amazing, gorgeous views, and it really isn't that loud. If you want more flat, usable land, say you want to grow Christmas trees, or you just want to have a bunch of flat acres that the kids can run around in, you're probably not going to have these views because you're going to be a little further down. You can see some of the flat areas right back in there. Most of those areas probably are not going to have views, these sweeping views like you would have here up higher up. Now, when it comes to schools for this area, Stafford does have their own elementary school, but you are in the Westland, Wilsonville School District. And I've heard from multiple residents in this area that you can petition to have your kids go to, say, one of the Westland elementary schools if you didn't want to go to the Stafford. The Stafford Elementary School is also very highly rated, kind of gives you a little bit more options there. And being in the Westland Wilsonville School District, you are in that top 3 district in the state. So I'll bring up the map here too, just so you can kind of see the orientation of the Stafford area compared to, say, downtown Portland. You're still really close, and you got easy access to the 205. So if you need to go to the airport, you can just hop on that and you'll be at the airport, depending on traffic, in roughly, say, 30 plus minutes. Take that also to the 5, and then take the 5 up to downtown. Or you can just hop on Stafford Road here and just take the 43 all the way up if you don't want to get on the highway that goes right up into the middle of downtown as well. I prefer that route myself. It's way more scenic. Might add on to your commute maybe 5-6 extra minutes, but to me, it's worth it if you're not in a huge rush. And then for the shopping areas and dining, the closest part to here is going to be the historic Willamette. That area is also a really cool area for dining, for coffee shops, ice cream, bars. They've got it all right there on that main street. And again, that's a historic main street, a part of Westland called Willamette. And that's right on the river right there where the Tualatin meets the Willamette. And there's a great park right there. Also just had some clients that just closed on a home right near that park. They're loving it so far. They moved actually from the East Coast. So there's a lot of cool little areas. So this Stafford area is just one of those areas in here. You got the Westland, you got Stafford, and you've got Lake Oswego, and you've got Wilsonville. They're all really gorgeous, really unique, and have their own little personalities to them. And again, if you want that acreage, this should be probably top on your list because you have all the amenities of downtown Lake Oswego, shopping over in Willamette, of Westland. You feel like you're just out in the countryside. Okay, let's talk about homes. When it comes to home prices, you can expect pushing right up around $1 million. So you can get something for a little under $1 million, all the way up to multiple millions. You're typically going to be paying probably about $1.5 million to about $2.5 million is going to be your average price point for a property that has around 5 acres, and that's a decent size. Now, it just really depends on there. Does it have views? How new is the house? How updated is the house? How many square footage does that house have? But that's pretty much where you're going to be, is in that price zone. So you are paying a premium to be in this area and to have such a great location to Lake Oswego, to all the amenities. Again, you're not way far out in the countryside, so you kind of get the benefit of all those worlds. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you guys have any other questions, go ahead and reach out. My information's right down there. And whether you're moving next week or next year, go ahead and reach out and give me a call. I'd love to connect over a Zoom. And if you enjoyed this video, stay tuned for the next one coming up right now.